Hello and welcome to BISP Solution. And today's webinar is about Fusion Financial Accounting Receivables Transaction Process with use cases of BISP Group. So let us move to today's agenda. In day 4, the webinar agenda is reciprocal customer configuration process, cross currency receipts configuration and process, then receipt write-off configuration and process. As per the business use cases, as per business requirement, create transaction in the application where the business user can use one customer information to create receipt in another customer. So we will use reciprocal customer for this scenario, and for cross currency receipt, as per business requirement, a transaction is created in functional currency and receipt is created in foreign currency for the same transaction in the application. So that is the use case for cross currency receipt. Now for third scenario, that is receipt write-off, the user can write off small non-receivable balance amount from customer with some defined limits in the application based on business requirement. Right, so these are the use cases for reciprocal customer as per business requirement, that creating a transaction in the application where the business user can use one customer information to create receipt for another customer. So first case we will take with the reciprocal customer, right? So let us move to the next slide. So in Oracle Fusion receivables, you can use customer account relationship to manage the shared billing and shipped service and payment activities between the two accounts. The account relationship lets you identify the account that can be received shipment or invoice for another account, as well as the account that can pay for open debit items of another account. The customer account relationship is either a one-way relationship or reciprocal relationship. By default, an account relationship is a one-way, meaning that the parent account can apply receipt to open debit items of the related accounts, but the receipt in the related account can be applied to open debit items of the parent account. If you want to allow the two accounts to pay for each other, the open debit items, then enable the reciprocal option for relationship definition. So you can use allow payment for unrelated transaction system option to help the manage the customer account relationship. Do not enable this option if you want to restrict the sharing of receipt application and billing and shipping services to the account relationship that you define for each customer account. If you do not enable the allow payment of unrelated transaction system option, then any customer account can be paid for open debit items of any other customer account. You can still use the account relationship to manage billing and shipping services. So first step is to enable the create reciprocal customer in receivable option, and then assign custom reference data set to customer account relationship in the manage business unit set assignment. And third step is to establish a reciprocal relationship between the customer. So first we will navigate to the manage receivables system options. So let us navigate to the application now. So let's log in with the user credential. So let us now navigate to the manage receivable system options. From the setting and action, setup and maintenance, selecting as financial as a setup scope, and out here we will navigate to the receivables. So here we are, manage receivable system options. Select that. Search with the business unit, that is BISP Solutions Inc. Miami. Select that. Edit. So if you go to cash processing, hold on. If I go to just hold on. So enable the unrelated transaction. I have done so, right? So, and one more thing is required. Just hold on. Here we are. Create reciprocal customer under the customer, right? Select that. Either you can use that reciprocal customer by selecting that, or otherwise you can use allow unrelated transactions. I disable that and select that. Under the customer, I will select create reciprocal customer. Save and close. So first step is to create reciprocal customer, then assign reference data set, that is in custom account relationship in manage business unit set assignments. So I have created a reference data set, that is enterprise profile. Go to just hold on, reference data set. Here we are. So I have created a reference data set with a name as BISP. that is BISP customer, and set name is BISP customer RDS, and description I have given that BISP customer reference data set, right? So I have created a separate reference data set. Save and close. Then navigate to organization structure. Out here, manage business unit, set assignment. So select with the selected scope. So this is business unit related setup. So I have already selected my selected scope as BISP Solution Inc. Miami, and out here the customer account relationship, right? So I will provide that particular reference data set, that is BISP customer RDS, which I have created. Now let us navigate to the customer, create or manage customers. So let us navigate to the customer. So go to receivables. Either you can go to account receivable or billing. Let us navigate to the billing work area. Let us manage, select the manage customer. I have already defined a one customer, that is ABC. Search with that. ABC Corporation America. Select that. So go to the accounts. Out here the relationship, right? So that is the relationship, and select the add. So relationship account number. So let me search with the account description, say EPADS GROUP group. Let us first just duplicate that. I required account number, right? So let's navigate with the second tab, receivables transaction. I am using the shortcut of favorite. Here select manage, search with the organization as EPADS, search with that. Here we are. So this is the account number. So you can see the reference data set out here. So let us copy this account number 70126. So relationship, search with the account number, search with that, search that. There we are. Select OK. Create reciprocal, right? Create the reciprocal and provide the account relationship set, that is RDS, that is BISP, right? So BISP customer, what we have created, RDS, right? And the date I am providing. Okay, So that is reciprocal customer. We have created the relationship between the reciprocal customer, and save and close. So we will create an invoice with ABC Corporation Americas, and we will receive the amount from EPADS group, right? So that is the reciprocal customer. So let us navigate to the transactional or say billing work area and create one transaction. So let us create a one transaction from here. Create transaction. So let us select that ABC CORP search with that. Here we are. Select that and select the payment terms as immediate, right? So give the description as service, and the quantity I would suggest say 1, and the say 25049, right? So that is the 25049 is the dollars, $25,049, and save the invoice. So we will get the transaction number, that is 72766, and we will complete and close, right? So it is on complete status. Let me complete that. So transaction has been created. So let us navigate to the receipt workbench. So let us navigate from here, account receivables. From task panel, create receipt. Right, so we will select receipt as ETF manual, say, and so go to the manage. Let us navigate receivable transaction, select that, manage transactions, search with the transaction. So we have created a transaction with this 72766, right? So that is ABC. So amount is 25049, right? So that is the amount, and select the account as I have received the amount from EPADS. Search with that. Say OK, and select the site. If you provided the bank details, then you can provide the bank details also. Right, so save and apply manually. Open add receivables, remove this, include just search with the transaction name. The customer name is ABC. Search with that. Here we are. Search. Say OK. Search that. So here we are. This is the account. Select that. Add. And done. Right. So we have applied the same and save and close. Go to the manage receipts. I am using the save search. So here we are. So you can see the customer name is this, and I have applied the amount to ABC Corporation Americas. Right. Select that. Let us navigate to the invoice. Select that, action, view balance. So you can see the amount has been applied to this invoice. Right. So this is all about reciprocal transaction and configurations related to that. Now moving to the next topic is cross currency. So cross currency, the cross currency receipt is Oracle account receivables allow you to apply receipt in one currency to one or more currency transactions in a different currency. This can be useful when your customer remit payments for an invoice, debit memo or chargeback in a currency that is different from currency of open debit items. When you apply the cross currency receipt, the receivable calculates both open balances of the transaction, if any, and the foreign exchange gain and loss. For application, you can apply a receipt to transaction using any currency defined in the general ledger. To set up receivables to use cross currency receipt, you need to perform following steps. Define cross currency system profile option to be enabled to apply receipt in one or currency to another currency or more transaction in the different currency. Set system profile option in account receivable, enable cross currency to yes, and you can define this profile option at the site level or user level. Right, so you have to define the profile option in account receivable and in the site level, and the profile option in that the site level, application, user level or a user level. Then define the suspense account in the Oracle General Ledger. When you create cross currency receipt application, the resulting accounting entries consist of two currencies, the receipt currency and the transactional currency. The receivable ensures that the proper FXGL is calculated so that the entry balances in your functional currency. The entry, however, does not balance the entire currency. When receivable posts these multi-currency journals entries, Oracle General Ledger separates the entry by currency before balancing them. Next, the General Ledger creates one entry to a clearing account so that each journal will balance in entered currency, and an clearing account is called a suspense account in Oracle General Ledger. So these are the steps one should take care when defining the cross currency related transaction. So for cross currency, first daily rates, check with the daily rates, and then enable in the bank account as multi-currency account. So let us navigate to the application and check the relevant setups. From setting and action, setup and maintenance, you can go to global search page, right? So you can go to global search page, or you can search with daily rates, manage daily rates. So we will create a transaction, go to the daily rates tab. I will create a transaction that it is US, from US currency to INR currency, and select today's date, whether the rates are updated or not. I will check it down with that. Here we are, today's, and select the rate type as corporate. Yeah, rate has been updated, that is 82.6081. that is the rate, conversion rate, and their inverse rate is also been out there. So the rate is there. The next thing is to enable the account in multi-currency, right? So let us navigate to the cash management, manage bank accounts. Let's navigate to the manage bank accounts. It's too long. Setup and maintenance. Go to the cash management. Out here in the manage bank accounts, you can go with a global search page also. So legal entity, that is, I am selecting with the legal entity is BISP. So BISP Solutions Inc is the legal entity. Search with that. Here we are, the account. You can see the multi-currency account is already enabled, right? So that is the requirement, multi-currency account. So your account should support multi-currency related entries in the application. So my bank account is multi-currency account. So let us create a transaction with $10,000, and we will create receipt in INR, right? So let us create that. So I am using my favorites, or you can say a shortcut. Go to billing work area. From here, from the task panel, I will create a one transaction. Say ABC. Such with that. Say OK. And I will select as immediate payment terms. I can override. By default, it is coming from customer side. I have defined the template out there. That's why it is coming. So the currency is in USD, right? So that is the use case. And let us provide a memo line. Let us say ERP functional support. So let us give 100 hours as my support. That is 27500 is my USD, is my invoice amount, line amount also. Save that. So this is the transaction number, and complete and close, right? So the transaction has been completed. Now we will create a receipt with INR, right? So that is to test our cross currency related activity, right? So let us navigate to the receipt workbench. From here, create receipt. Select the receipt method. So let me select cash and check deposit. Provide the receipt number. And I will provide the receipt number as in INR. Select in INR. So you can see the conversion rate. So the corporate rate is today's corporate rate. So inverse rate is coming, right? So enter the amount, that is 826081 INR. So you can see the accounted amount, that 10,000 USD, right? So that is coming. Let us select the customer, that is ABC Corporation. Search with that. So this is the customer, the ABC Corporation Americas. Select that, select the site, right? So save and apply manually, right? So you can see the entered amount is in INR and the accounted amount is in USD, right? So it is unapplied amount right now. For that, we will add and open receivables. If I get to search that, it will not yield any results, right? So I had to include the cross currency transaction. Let me select that and search the same. There we are. We can select that, say OK. Add, done. So you can see the 10,000 has been paid through using INR, and I have accounted that in dollars, right? So apply the same, and rest amount is 17,500 in USD, right? So the balance amount, and the cross currency rate is showing off, right? So we have seen that particular while creating manage daily rates, the rate is same which we have used out there, the provided out there, right? So apply, save the same, save and close, right? So that is all about the cross currency receipt. So let me search with that, save search. I have defined. So this is the receipt. Just hold on. This is the receipt, I think so. That is the, yeah, this is the receipt. 556. Here we are. 10,000. Right. So if you go, let us navigate from here. Go to the transactional workbench, or say billing workbench, manage transactions using the save search. Let us select this and to the actions, view balance. So you can see the entered currency, right? So that is the entered currency, it is showing 17,500 is the balance, right? So let us move to the next topic, that is receipt write-off. So let us navigate to the PPT. So receipt write-off is a receipt activity that cancels the open debit item and assign it to a write-off account. You can write off both overpayment and underpayment amounts. You can write off overpayment when after applying the receipt to a debit item and small unapplied amount remains. You can set up receivables both to write off receipt amount automatically to present write off amount as recommended for review and manual update. These setups are related to receipt write-off and receivable activity. Set up account under the receivable activity write-off to credit the receipt write-off amount. You can set up write-off account when defining your receivable activity. When you enter the receipt and combine it with positive adjustment, and receivable creates the following journal entry, that is debit cash and credit receivables, and invoice debit receivables, credit write-off. So let us navigate and what are the steps behind that. So first step is to set receipt write-off limit in system option. So first we will set up a write-off limit in the system option, and second step is to set approval limit for business user, right? So that is the user, the business user, you will provide him the limit, and then we will create receivable activity, that is receipt write-off as an activity, and provide activity GL account. So the step navigation, first navigation is navigate to Setting an action, select the setup scope, setup financial as the scope, and navigate take as receivables, and out here the manage receivable system options. So let us navigate to the application now. Setting an action, setup and maintenance, setup financial as the selected scope, and navigate to the receivables, out here the manage receivables system options. Search with the business unit, select that, let us, here we are, the write-off limit per receipt, that is in the business unit level you provide that. I have provided minus $1,000 and the write-off in the positive end and the negative end, right? So that is $1,000 to up to the limit, right? So this is the write-off limit I have provided. The next step is to provide limits, approval limits, right? So let us navigate to that. The user can't provide the self-approval limit, so here I have to log in with the another user. So let us log in with the another user. So I have already provided that. I will navigate to the, I am logging with the different user, say AC.Brown, select that, say OK. So setup and maintenance, so you can go with that global search. Let us go with the global search. Search approval limits. Approval limits. Select the manage approval limits. This is the task, and I have already provided, so I will search with that username, that is select that, say OK, search. So I have provided the receipt write-off limit, right? So receipt write-off and the document number. So I have provided the document number is receipt write-off, and the limit I have given out here is minus $100 to $100, right? So positive and negative, you can write off up to $100. In the business unit level, there is a $10,000 is there. So that write-off he can have, a user can write off up to $100, either positive if the amount remains or over amount is received, right? So that is the limit, minimum and maximum limit I have provided. And save and close. Done with that. Log off with that another user. Now just log in with the user, right? So let us log in with the user. Okay. What is the next step? The third step is to create receivable activities, right? So let us navigate from setting and action, setup and maintenance. Let us navigate to the receivables. Out here, the manage receivable activities. Select that particular task. I am using the save search. So out here I have provided the receipt write-off. So let us navigate to that. Out here I selected my business unit. I have provided the name and the activity type should be a receipt write-off. And out here I have provided the GL account. So you can see the GL account as receipt write-off account, right? So, and save and close. It should be active. So in our last use case, it will be, we will create a transaction with $10,000 or say $4,995, and we have received, create a receipt of $5,000, right? So let us, and we will write off the remaining $5 as customer doesn't want the refund of that particular amount. So how to do that in the application as per use case? Let us create a one transaction with that. So I am using the favorites or shortcut, you can see. Go to the transactional workbench. I will create a transaction. So let us create a transaction with EPADS, right? So let us create a transaction with, search with that. Say OK. Select that. The payment terms is immediate, and I will provide a description as service and quantity as 1, and the price is 4,995, right? So this is the invoice we will generate, and save this. So the transaction number is 71767. We will complete and close, right? So let us complete and close. So it has been completed and closed. The transaction has been created. Let us navigate to the receipt work area. From the task panel, I will create receipt. From here, I will select as, say, cash and check, and I will say as per use case that $5,000, please make the payment, and I will select the customer, that is EPADS. Search with that, select that, select the site. If you have provided any bank details, you can provide that. save and apply manually. And out here, open add receivables, search. So this is the transaction amount, add, done. So we have applied, right? So the unapplied amount is $5, right? So customer doesn't want any refund of that, so I will write off that small amount, right? So let us save this transaction. Let us save this transaction and scroll down from the action, go to more, create write-off, right? So let us create a write-off. So you can see the write-off amount and select the customer write-off, say OK and save the same, right? So save and close. So the write-off has been created. So you can go to manage receipts. That is the receipt we have created. So you can see the write-off has been created. Now let us navigate to the receivable transaction. To manage transactions, manage transactions, and you can see, so this is the transaction. Let's open that, go to the action, view balances. So you can see the account has been closed. And if you go activity, transaction activity, so the activity is there, right? So you can go to the transaction activities, you can manage adjustment, go to the manage adjustment. So we have not applied any adjustment. There is one another way is to manage the adjustment, apply the adjustment, right? So this is all about today's session. Thank you for joining today's webinar on AR related transaction process in Fusion application. That's all for today. Thank you.